Trains, trains, and trains. That's what this video is about. It's about all the trains in Rome, how to navigate Termini train station, the difference between Trenitalia and Italo, the advantages of high speed versus regular speed. Is not always best to go with the high speed, and I'll explain why. And probably the biggest advantage I'm going to show in this video is I'm going to show you how to save at least 50% on your high-speed train travel throughout Italy. Also, I wanted to let you know that in the description, I'm going to break this into chapters, so if you just want to know how to save money on trains, you can click that link that will take you directly to that section of the video. There's a lot to cover here, so let's dive in. If you're new to our channel is all about Rome. It's about how to make your next trip to Rome the best it can be. Please consider subscribing. It really does help us, and hopefully the information that we're providing will also help you. It's kind of a win-win. And give it a thumbs up. Italo versus Trenitalia. So when you get on a train in Italy, you're going to have two companies to choose from. You're either going to be on a Trenitalia train or an Italo train. Trenitalia has the largest network of trains. It services basically every city, north, south, east, west in the entire country. And that makes it very convenient. They have regular speed trains and they have high speed trains. Their high speed trains are called Frecciarossa. Whereas the Italo network only has high speed trains and their network of cities is much smaller, around 50. But the good news is it is the major cities, Venice, Milan, Bologna, Florence, Rome, Naples, and many others. And you can look on their website and kind of see what they service. But all the major cities are covered under the Italo network on the high speed only. So how do you choose between Italo or Trenitalia? What I do is I have both apps on my phone and I compare pricing. And if I can get a better price on Trenitalia, then I'll take that network. If I can find a better price on Italo, I'll take that one. Because from my experience, the quality of the trains I can't really tell the difference. If you see a big difference, please make a comment. But I've been on both and I just don't notice a big difference. They both have very comfortable seats. They both have assigned seating. They both have free Wi-Fi as you travel. They're both very comfortable, very smooth. I just don't really see a big difference. So I just kind of look at who's cheaper. And 9 times out of 10, I gotta be honest, Italo is less expensive than Trenitalia. High speed versus regular speed. Now, you might think, well, of course high speed's always better than regular speed. But there are some disadvantages to the high speed. Not many, but there are a couple. One is it obviously costs more. Sometimes 2 times as expensive and sometimes more than that. Another negative of high speed travel is that it's often in tunnels or below grade, so you're looking out the windows and you just see the walls. While you're not on the train very long, there's not a lot to see. Every once in a while you pop out and you'll see the countryside. But on the regular speed trains, if you like to see the countryside of Italy, which it is beautiful, take the regular speed trains because you can really enjoy as you drive through the towns. It does take longer, but you're gonna be able to see the countryside. You're gonna see the different towns you can pull up to, and that's very enjoyable, especially if you're not in a real hurry. 9 times out of 10, yes, it's better to travel high speed because you get from point A to point B much faster. In fact, high speed has now made it possible to visit places like Naples or Florence as a day trip, where before it was kind of pretty difficult to do because you felt like you spent most of your day on the train. But with high-speed rail, you can go from Rome to Naples in about 1 hour. That used to be 3.5 hours. So now you can go in the morning, spend the whole day in Naples, and they even have a train that goes to Pompeii. So if you want to go see Pompeii, you can take it right down to Pompeii, spend the day in Pompeii, and then head back to Rome later in the evening or whenever you're done, making the day much more enjoyable and less time traveling. And that's also true for Florence. So now you can go from Rome to Florence and it takes about 1.5 hours, where it used to be close to 4 hours. So in 1.5 hours, you can still spend the majority of the day in Florence and not on the train. So high-speed rail has really been a game changer in Italy, especially for those that want to see a lot of things and do day trips like that. So Termini train station is Europe's busiest train station. In fact, there are more than 500,000 passengers that pass through Termini on a busy day. That's a ton of people. And if you're not prepared, you can maybe get a little bit overwhelmed, maybe get lost, maybe get frustrated. So in this video, I'm going to use Google Maps to kind of show you around and kind of point out a few things that will certainly help you on your visit to Rome. So if you did not recognize this building, this is Rome Termini train station. So there are two things I really want to point out. If you're on a high-speed rail, well, the chances are your train's going to come right here to the front of the station or to be departing right from this part of the station. But what confuses a lot of people is that there are also B platforms, and these are for the smaller, less expensive trains. I shouldn't say smaller, but they're the less expensive trains heading maybe to smaller cities that aren't serviced by the high-speed rail or the more expensive trains. And a lot of those trains line up here on the B platforms. This is a B platform over here, and then also over here. So if you have a ticket and you're leaving Rome, check your track number, but also check whether it's A or B. Now, A doesn't always say A, so if you're on track 22, it's just going to be track 22, but B will say B, so then you're going to need to walk down here. And I say that because this may look not that big a deal, but these trains are pretty long. This is like 300 or 400 meters to get down over here, which adds about 5 more minutes to your walk when you're trying to catch your train. And if you're not prepared and you realize last minute that it's on a B platform, you might miss your train. So just be aware of that. There are two sections. These passengers unload here, and they unload and load in this section right here. The second thing I want to point out is where to get a taxi. There are two places to get taxis. One of them, you come right out to the front of the station. Now this is a satellite imagery and it's not that good, but see all these taxis down here? That's where you get a taxi. They're white and they say taxi on it. You want to beware not to get into a taxi that is a black sedan or a black van, because chances are they're not the authorized taxi. They can charge you whatever they want to. If you pre-negotiate, that's fine, but typically you're going to get a better value or pay quite a bit less using a regular taxi. Now right now there's some construction going on out here, and so the taxis are actually right over here, but when you get to Rome, they'll probably be back over here. The other location, this is like a big, kind of like a shopping mall, honestly. There's all kinds of restaurants and shops along this corridor here in interior. And on this end, there is also an exit, but the taxis do not, pick you up here. But on this other side, right over here, there is another taxi station. That's this white thing, this white awning here. You just come out, walk out the side, and then get in line for the taxis. So there's two things you kind of need to be aware of at Termini Station. One I already mentioned is the taxi drivers. As long as you're getting into an official taxi, you'll be fine. But if somebody's trying to solicit you, they're probably not an official taxi. And the last thing, be aware of pickpockets. What does that mean? You need to be aware that pickpockets do happen here. It's probably the most pickpockets of any one place in the city take place here at Termini. Not that you need to be super scared, but what I do is I stick my wallet in my front pocket. Now that alone does not protect you, but when I'm in crowds, I also stick my hand over my wallet, kind of being attentive of that. So when you're aware of it, it's not likely going to happen. Validating your train ticket. Yes, it's important to validate your train ticket. However, if you purchase high-speed rail tickets through Italo or Trenitalia, those tickets do not need to be validated because those tickets were for a specific time, a specific date, and more importantly, they had an assigned seat to them. So if you purchase a ticket, even though it was for a specific time and date, it does not have an assigned seat, those tickets do need to be validated. As crazy as it sounds, they need to be validated because technically those tickets can be used in the future. Until it's been validated, that ticket is still valid. So make sure you validate that ticket. And how do you validate tickets? You validate them, there's little machines, little things, you stick your paper tickets into it and it puts the date and time on the ticket, so it's been validated. But if you're using the app, this would only apply to Trenitalia because Italo only has high speed, so you don't need to worry about that. But Trenitalia app, you're gonna, right on the app itself, and I don't have a little thing to show you, but it's pretty easy. Before it departs, you're gonna get a thing on there that'll say, validate, or maybe it says confirm. I'm not exactly sure. I think it says validate your ticket. And anyway, you'll click on that, validating that ticket. Again, make sure your tickets are validated because the last thing you want to do is have a confrontation with the conductor, argue about the validation or no validation, likely they're going to still fine you and you're not going to be happy and it'll just be frustrating. So get those tickets validated. Now I'm going to show you how to save a lot of money on high-speed rail. High-speed rail is kind of expensive, but with savings of 50% or more, it becomes very affordable. And here's how you do it. Every train in the system, they have so many tickets available at discounted prices. But in order to get those, you have to book early. In the low season, maybe that's 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks early. But in high season, oftentimes it's months early, like 1 or 2 or 3 months in order to get the biggest discount. Because there's not just a discount, there's like 4 or 5 different tiers. So once they sell out of the very cheap tickets, then they get up to the next level and so forth. So here's how you do it. I'm going to be using the Italo app, and I suggest you get the app on your phone, and there's also the Trenitalia app. I'm going to look at both of them, but on the Italo app, I've already put in, this is for March 2nd, so it's for tomorrow, and we're going to look at the trains 1 day out, what they cost. And this is what most people do that are tourists. It is rigged against the tourists, to be honest with you, because tourists come in there, they're not really prepared what they're doing, or they do it at the last minute, and they're always having to pay the highest fare. So if you look here, tomorrow's fares, most of them on the high speed are 50 euros, 49.90. There are 2 here, one's at 55, one's at 75. There's nothing special about those trains. It's probably just the even the regular rates have filled up, and they're going into like business class or first class, so that's why those are higher. But that's for tomorrow. Now, if we were to look out into the future, let me show you here. I'm going to show, look here, I got to back up here. So we're going to go out, instead of March, let's go into May, okay? And May 15th. So on May 15th, voila, you've got trains from, well, even 9.90, you know, that's like a, what, 80% savings? Leaves at 6:55 in the morning, kind of early, but let's look down a little further. One at 7:40 for 11.90, compared to 50, that's great. Another one at 8:40 for 11.90. As you see, they're pretty good discounts by booking early, and this is on the Italo. Let's take a look at the Trenitalia. Now, another reason I use Italo over Trenitalia is I think the app is much better with Italo than it is with Trenitalia. They're both okay, but I have problems with this app sometimes. Okay, we're gonna leave from Rome, we're gonna go to Florence, we're gonna leave on the 2nd. This was the time we did on the other one. Oop, that's for AM, PM. So we're going on the 2nd, and we're gonna see what rates we get. So here we are on the Trenitalia app, and the high-speed trains are 55 euros. So they're like $5 more, 5 euros more. There are some, you're gonna notice, you're gonna see one, you're wondering, this one's 24, but it is a regular speed train. It takes 3 hours and, let's see, 46 minutes to get there, where the other ones are like right around in 1.5 hours. 1 hour, 29 minutes, 1 hour, 46 minutes, just depends. They're slightly different. 1 hour, 29 minutes. So they're about 5 euros more for the Trenitalia app versus the Italo. Now, if we were to go out a ways, let's go out till, whoops. So now we're looking on the same dates to compare. And we saw the other ones had them for 11, 9, 11. So on the Trenitalia app, you've got an early train at 7:35 at 19.90, 27, 27, 24, 27. So yeah, they're not nearly as cheap as they are on the Italo app. And that's why I typically, when I book tickets, I typically go to Italo, because almost always I get better savings on the Italo than I do on Trenitalia. So on these trains, they have about 4 or 5 different tiers of discounts. The full fare on Italo is called Flex, which makes a lot of sense. It's flexible to you, meaning if you miss your train, they're gonna stick you on the next available train for free, or you can just call, or on the app, you can reschedule for no problem to another date, to another time, just to accommodate your schedule. You're already paying the full fare, and they have no problem working with you with that full fare. If you're getting their biggest discount all the way down here, there is no refunds regardless. If you miss the train, there's no refunds, okay? So use it or lose it. And then if you end up buying somewhere in the middle, sometimes there's 50% refund, or there's, a booking fee, and it's, it just depends on where your discount falls. And that's true of both the Italo and of the Trenitalia. You need to look on the website and get the details for yourself, but just know that you're probably going to lose most of your money if you do not use your ticket or miss your train on those cheap tickets. Whereas with the full fare flex tickets, yeah, you can rebook, but you're pretty much paying for that because you're paying 5 times as much money for that ticket in some cases. So that's how you save money. Book early, save a lot of money. It's not too hard, but a lot of people don't know that. Of course, if you're Italian, you do, but those of us that are coming from other countries, they take advantage of us when they can, and this is one area that they no longer can take advantage of you because you just learned how to do it. Book those tickets early, save a ton of money.
I will be your shield in the fiercest battle. I'll defend you from all these arrows, and the sword I will keep you from danger. Let me be